What is going on, guys? This is Sewell. In today's video, we're gonna be explaining one of the most important special inscription from Delta, butterfly effect. Trust me, after watching this video, you'll have a better understanding on this whole thing of Delta and also how exactly combo attacks work. So speaking of which, butterfly effect, as long as you launched combo attack, now you have 20% more chance to trigger things more often. For example, a horn. So the chance of proc one-time horn is like 30%. Now if launching one combo attack, now that chance is raised up to 51%. Now with butterfly effect, we can again raise up the chance to 65%. So the essential thing about combo attack is actually to increase the time you can trigger things. But the thing about butterfly effect is actually giving you higher chance to make those things happen. Now consider a turn that has combo attacks. There are a whole bunch of calculations internally, but eventually all those calculations are actually happening in this one particular turn. So we need to figure out what exactly happened inside this turn and what are some of the things that is going to happen on the next turn. So the thing that actually happens simultaneously with the turn that a combo attack works includes your range gain from a talent tree and the rage from your horn and your war drum, and also some other instant proc skill, as well as the last talent on the combo tree, and also the trigger of any buff and debuff. But keep in mind here, for the buff and debuff, that's only the trigger, not actually being effective. Because being effective from any buff or debuff, it always takes one turn to take place, which means you won't be having this buff or debuffs effective until next turn. That's the logic on this game. Like the effect from Ring or level 5, if it triggers on this turn, that means it will be effective on the next 2 turns. So if you're a fan of reading reports, especially on Arthur Prime, you'll probably notice that the pattern on this pair is like whenever there is a turn dealing tons of damage, it usually includes everything, like instant proc, rage gain, and whatever, a bunch of stuff. And the next following turns are nothing but just normal attack, until the next time you get your cooldown ready or your rage is enough. So that leads to some of the players are actually misunderstanding on combo attack. Just because combo attack does have higher chance to trigger all those items, but you gotta realize the turns after the instant proc are usually only dealing normal attacks. So if you think Ring, level 5, or even Atella 4 skill have some of synergy with combo attacks, you are absolutely wrong. Because most of the time, all those enhancements would only land on the turns that only deal normal attacks. Not to mention the expertise skill from Arthur Prime has 50% of chance to trigger, which is way higher than all the rest items. So that means at the very beginning of the fight, your Arthur is just an instant proc with extremely high chance. And then, due to the presence of combo attack and butterfly, simultaneously in the same turn, you're gonna have all of those randomness to proc, including your random skill, your random effect, while all those buff or debuff won't be working until the next turn. So in other words, when you are actually having those buff effective, you already have your random skill or whatever the instant proc triggered already in earlier turns. So most likely, you will just end up getting those buff working on the turns that only have normal attacks. So eventually, Ring, level 5, Attila 4 skill are extremely overrated on combo attacks. Now people would say, what about the combo attacks from Arthur Prime active skill? Would that just mean the secondary active skill would have all those enhancements? But I mean, who are you gonna pair with Arthur? Philip doesn't do any damage from his ultimate. The thing that would happen is just active skill from William. But for some reason, the idea of getting a temporary buff in this meta is also overrated. Because this meta, like I mentioned, is all about hit and run. As long as you move your troop even once, the 2 seconds of enhancement will just lose it anyway. That's why Ring is always strong in theory, but when it comes to real fight, it just ends up worse. The more movement you are doing, the worse outcome all of those enhancements gonna be. Not even Ring. Same as level 5, Attila 4 skill. To be honest, they're just overrated. So now what we need to do is actually focus on the things that actually happens on the same turn where combo attacks happen. to be specific, rage, and other random skill. So in my opinion, the accessory from Arthur primary march gotta be horn and war drum. And the secondary commander has to have at least one instant proc skill. That's the only correct way to pair with Arthur. Now some people may think you would overrage by using horn and drum. But I mean, in fact, you would only have overraging on the turn that deal combo attacks. So that's roughly like 2 out of 10 turns by average, which is never overraging in my opinion. And also, the good thing about horn and war drum in this meta is like, it's not gonna lose its buff like ring does. Let's say you're pulling back your troops, as long as you stay in the combat, your rage is still there. Also, war drum is actually a must-have level for Arthur Prime. The idea is like to utilize combo attack to make more rage for your entire team fight. Even if there's overraging for your Arthur March, but I mean some of your other marches still get a benefit. So regarding war drum, if you're running 5 marches, at least 3 war drum are recommended. Now speaking of pairing, my suggestion will always be Arthur Philip or Arthur William. If your Philip goes to your Zhuge or Liu Che, then just run Arthur William. Now lastly, let's share one of my real fight reports from this KVK. The AUX skills I was using are second skill from Alex, third skill from Takeda, and then fourth skill from Leonidas, which is explained already in last video. Go check it if you guys are interested. Alright, thank you for watching. Bye. Subscribe and like the video. Thank you for support.